So in this video, I want to catch you up with my no BS guide on time management with like 3 simple steps and ideas to get better with time management, because I catch myself often that I get distracted and that I don't actually do what I should be doing, and that I procrastinate or that I get distracted because there is so much noise out in the world. Especially also on YouTube, a lot of videos are out there with guides on time management. There are so many books. I have a few myself here. There's so much going on, but I think time management can be broken down to so simple things. And if you figure these things out, I have a framework, and then at the end I have some bonus tips for you that I think will be helpful to get yourself prepared and out there. So what I've set out to do is to keep everything under 10 minutes. I doubt that. And to keep myself track, I have the little Sant timer to keep track. I'll put it here so you all can also see it. I see it over there on my screen. And you can also see it in the video. So when the orange sand is gone, my time's up. So I better get to the point. Because I want to cut through the noise. I don't want to keep rambling on, and I need to keep myself a bit concise. So it's not gonna be fancy, but it will work. And it's not an idea. It's because I've used the system over and over to get myself out of a rut and to get myself actually going. So it's a proven system in that sense. So why does it all matter? We have a cost of wasting time, and that's expensive. And time management, if we start thinking of time management as our monthly time budget as it is, then we should cut the costs of wasting time out of the system, because we don't want to spend time in a place where we don't actually want the outcome of it, or we don't want the usage of it. So everything in life has a price, so does our time, and so we need to put a price tag on it. The expensive part is we can't even get our time back. On Steam, it shows how much time you've spent in a game, and that's always a bit of a scary moment to me, that actually I log on to Steam because I'm like, oh yeah, I could play a little. Then I look at that time and I'm like, not today, not today. Because then I go off, because the time I spent on Steam playing the game, I could also spend with my son playing with him. And that's much more rewarding in the outcome, even if it might prove a more difficult play in the minute. Because playing on the computer is definitely easy, it's convenient. We don't need to move, we don't need to think, we don't need to communicate. Playing with the son that's 1 year old might not be so much fun in the moment, but it builds our relationship for the future. And so there's a lower, the cost of it in the long term is a lot higher, because we could have the benefit of having a good relationship with our son instead. And so that's just one point, because I don't have much time. I can't get more into the cost of wasting time. That's where I waste the most of my time. And so that's the biggest cost point to me. So now what I want to do with you is try to figure out, and what we'll do in practice is we'll put on our armor and get ourselves ready for the battle, because procrastination and wasting time often comes in so little things that we don't even notice it sometimes, but we don't pay attention to it, and an hour is passed, a day is passed. And so we need to get a system going that protects our time from wasting it. So sadly, in today's world, we have the attention economy. That's such a cool name, and it sounds so good because we're all there to capture attention. But what the attention economy is not telling you, it's actually your time that matters most, because attention means your eyes glued on the content most of the time, or on the ads, and on the, like, your attention, your eyes, your time becomes the resource, the currency that everybody tries to get. And so that's somewhat of like me too, because I'm producing YouTube videos, so I'm also out there to get your attention to some extent. But I'm trying to give you the most value that I can at this moment. I know that I'm also improving myself and figuring new things out, and so I'll keep posting videos with like newer ideas and updated versions. I think still the basics that I understand now might I hope they're still helpful to you. So we need to start building a system that protects our time so we can actually spend it where we want it to be spent. So here's my proven system. First, we'll block the time, then we'll plan the time, and lastly, we'll attack. So first on the blocking, I've done a few years of Viking reenactment where I also fought with metal weapons. I broke my finger doing so I can't get it straight. That's just a little side story on that. But the interesting thing is that most movies totally get wrong is it's defense first. First, you need to protect your life in order to be heroic in the battle. Because there's no value in you dying in the first minute of a battle, then you're not going to be heroic. And that's the sad reality of a wars. It's you're only going to win if your protection is there. And that's why we need to start with the shield, because we need to block our time, and we need to be protective over it first before we can actually take action. So the action is to put up your shields and put up your guards, because there are so many things in the world trying to get your time. And that's so essential that we know to be protective and that we spend the time with purpose. And so that means first block your days, block the time and be like, this is what I'm going to do. We'll go deeper into that in the next stage where we plan actually. Now it's more important that we also learn to say no to things, to people, to time wasters that we just get in the habit of like, this is not good, so I'm blocking it away. And there are so many attacks and arrows coming in because we have a phone that's buzzing and shooting arrows at you and tries to pick your attention. And so there are a few things that you can do with that too, but block your time. That's the first thing. Then the next thing is plan your time, where we need to set priorities to make decisions along those priorities to actually make the most use of our time that we have. So that's the second step that we need to take, because it's so much easier to know, to make a decision and to spend your time when you know where it's the most valuable on that whole list. Because time with my wife and with my son is almost unpayable, and so it has the highest value and the highest priority in my list. And so hobbies where I spend the least of time and there is no connection to my son or to my wife should have, in that sense, the least value to it. And so it should also have the least amount of time spent in a week on that. So that's the general idea of it. Just plan it out for yourself. The next thing is we need to start with the evening. We need to start planning our next day in the evening and start preparing for it in the evening, because that gives us the security that we have a plan already. When we get up, we know what we need to do, and we don't start looking at our phone, hanging out on Twitter or messages or like Instagram, whatever you do. We need to start being really active first thing. So that's the tip, is to plan the night before. The last thing we'll do is actually attack. This is where we take our sword and we'll go into battle and we'll win the day. And we're heroic doing so because we built momentum. We eat the frog first, which is a heroic deed to do, because frogs, from what I hear, don't really taste good. I hear that there are frog legs that taste like chicken wings, but a glibbery, slimy frog, or if you want to even worse, you can say that it's a toad. You don't want to eat that. So it's heroic to do so first thing in the morning, get it done, move on with your day, because that starts off the victory rolls of the day, where you start with one victory that's really difficult, really hard, and then you gain the momentum because you're like, oh yeah, I already ate that toad, ate that frog, so then you do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and so that sets you up for a long road ahead where you can get things done. So then I have 3 more bonus tips here for you, and my time is almost running out, so I need to be quick here. But 3 practical steps to get you started is: don't be fancy, just start messy. Don't try to have the prettiest Notion setup or bullet journal. Just take a piece of paper like this booklet, just start writing on it, and that's fine enough. Then start digital and don't be digital, start with paper. So use this instead of this, because here are a lot more distractions that could get you from what you need to do. And then the last thing is, don't put it off, just get started. It's simple as that. Don't think too much about it. Just count to 0 or to 1 and then just start. So it's like 3, 2, 1, go. And that's what you should be doing now.